I hope you guys are ready to dive deep into the waters of a very otherworldly Venus sign. Hola, my beautiful lotus flowers. Welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is a community for you. Today we're talking all about having Venus in Pisces, and what this means is at the exact time you were born, the planet Venus was moving through the zodiac sign of Pisces. This is not about having sun sign in Pisces. That is completely different. We're going to start the video with an intro to Venus. If you're not quite sure what the energy of Venus means in astrology, then we're going to go on to talk about general traits of Venus and Pisces, and we'll finish the video with a couple empowering tips for any of you who have Venus and Pisces, or even if you know somebody who does, these tips may help you know how to help them. So I'm not just going to leave you with your traits and then leave you hanging. I do want to offer some advice at the end, so be sure you stay tuned for that. Now, let's start the video with an introduction to the planet Venus in astrology. Venus is the planet of love, creativity / creation, and the material world. Venus actually rules over two zodiac signs, both Taurus and Libra. Taurus is an earth sign and Libra is an air sign. Venus's location on your birth chart will give you more specific insight into what you're drawn towards in the world and what's also drawn towards you. You can think of, quote, what I like and what I attract to remember what Venus means in your chart. In the words of Christopher Renstrom from the Cosmic Calendar, Venus can be summarized into being your astrological perfume. I thought that was an amazing little analogy. Venus is heavily associated with fertility, but this doesn't simply refer to biological fertility. This actually refers more to what we create in the physical world, from art to wealth, etc. So think manifestation. Venus's placement will say a lot about what you might create in this life, what's important to you to create, and what you're aesthetically and romantically drawn to. But remember, pay attention to whether Venus was retrograde at the time you were born, and the way that you can identify that is when you pull up your natal chart, it should show you a little RX, which is the retrograde symbol, next to whichever planets were retrograde in your chart at the time you were born. And I would try a few different sites just to make sure that you don't see that little retrograde, because not every site provides it. But this basically means that a lot of the traits that I talk about, it may manifest as the opposite for you when it's retrograde. This isn't always true. Retrograde can channel itself as many different things, but typically, say your Venus placement is supposed to make you really value someone who's nurturing and caring. Well, if it was retrograde, then maybe you struggle to find somebody who's nurturing and caring, and you end up in a lot of bad relationships. So it could channel itself many different ways, but it is something to pay attention to in your chart and do research on as well. Now for the general traits of somebody who has Venus in Pisces. Before we talk about the traits, it's important to remember that Pisces is the mutable water sign ruled by Neptune, co-ruled by Jupiter, and symbolized by the two fish. Number 1, Venus in Pisces has the potential to be an extremely expansive and prosperous person. Piscean energy is not the first one most people think of when thinking of wealth and prosperity, but the key here is their Neptune rulership alongside their traditional ruler, Jupiter. Neptune is the planet of the subconscious mind and illusion, whereas Pisces, traditional ruler, Jupiter, is the planet of expansion and higher learning. When the energy of Jupiter comes into contact with Venus, there's always massive potential for luck and growth. But with Neptune in contact with Venus as well, the planet of possessions and beauty, that boundary between the physical realm and the fantasy realm are heavily blurred, giving someone with Venus and Pisces a greater natural ability to bring their daydreams and visualizations into reality. And again, with Jupiter's energy present as well, whatever a Pisces Venus brings into their physical reality has an even greater chance of thriving due to the lucky touch of Jupiter. What's even more beautiful about the potential prosperity of this placement is the fact that they're probably not forcing their visions into reality, because this placement is not often a huge planner or organizer. They kind of like to go more with the flow, like a typical Piscean energy does. They often let their emotion and passion guide the way more than anything. And if you know anything about manifestation, you know that the moment you begin to overthink, overforce, overplan anything into existence, then you start to push it away. You start to become too desperate for it, and it kind of starts to move that energy away from you. But with the Venus and Pisces, they tend to naturally flow with their energy, with their emotions, with their passions. They're not very concerned usually with, a more materialistic Venus sign, maybe perhaps like a Venus Earth sign, which Venus Earth sign is very concerned with security, finances, a good job, a stable relationship. Venus and Pisces doesn't really care so much about these earthly materials or earthly promises or earthly situations. They really care the most about what their passion is pointing them towards. So naturally, they usually follow that. Obviously, there can be other things that offset this in the birth chart. That goes for every placement out there. Your whole birth chart matters. But for the most part, this placement has an amazing opportunity to be a natural manifester, a natural bringer of visions into the physical realm, because they are not usually forcing things. They can allow their dreams and visions to unfold naturally. Number 2, because of their emotional intuition and empathy, they're often experts at navigating and embracing emotionally charged environments. Unlike the sign that comes before them, Venus in Aquarius, which tends to be more uncomfortable around emotional environments or situations, Venus and Pisces have a peculiar gift for embracing these environments, sometimes even in a way that invokes massive healing in that environment. And I know this might sound a bit strange or hard to fully understand, but honestly, it's difficult to logically describe anything involving Piscean placements, as they are literally considered the otherworldly entities of the zodiac. But the best way to look at this is through the fact that Pisces is a water sign that's often highly sensitive to their own emotions and the emotions of others. Bringing this element in contact with the material realm through Venus, this is someone that thrives in emotional navigation and transmutation. For example, this is something that can make them amazing healers, especially in group environments, as the Pisces Venus almost gains energy or gains inspiration from the emotions of others, naturally wanting to embrace and heal those who need it. They can also do this with their own emotions. Typically, Pisceans are seen as one of the most emotionally turbulent signs, leading them to be very upset or depressed or whatever it is. It can usually lead to kind of a negative stereotype. But in fact, with this particular placement, their own emotions are sometimes their superpower, because they're being channeled through the domain of Venus. And channeling this through Venus gives them the opportunity, channeling their emotions through Venus gives them an amazing opportunity to turn those emotions into something valuable in the physical realm. But overall, those emotions can be converted into something that not only helps them, but can potentially help other people around them as well. Hence, making them a great potential healer once again. To put this energy into the simplest terms that I could possibly think of, this placement definitely channels strong white mage energy. And if you don't know what a white mage is, I'm sorry, but shout out to all my gamers out there. Number 3, oftentimes this placement does not fully realize what they actually want or what direction they should take, causing them to navigate most of life through their emotions and passion, feeling everything out as they go and adjusting accordingly. Because this is a mutable Venus sign, mutable meaning that this sign has an adaptable quality to it, it can be difficult for them to keep anything secure in their life, as they can tend to feel more comfortable just going with the flow. This can make it difficult for this sign to fully commit and stay with anything for too long, having a sort of free-spirited nature in that way. The positive side of this trait is the fact that they do so often use their intuition to navigate life, meaning you'll usually find this person doing something or being with someone that they actually love. This can also be what makes this Venus sign not so materialistic, of course, again, unless there's other placements that combat this and challenge it and make it materialistic. But for the most part, this placement is usually more concerned with being surrounded by things that bring them love and bring them joy and peace, such as certain experiences and people in their lives. They don't put so much value on the material luxuries in life. That's not to say that they won't enjoy it. Maybe this person is a Leo sun sign with a Venus in Pisces or something. You know, it's not to say that they don't enjoy life's luxuries, but it's not necessarily what they'll always put their most focus on. They'll prioritize the people and the experiences that they have. And this largely also comes from their Jupiter nature as well. But with that being said, there is still always a theme of possible self-sacrifice when it comes to Piscean placements. And when it comes to Venus and Pisces specifically, going back to having the energy of a healer, someone who can really give all their energy and emotion and transmute it into something that can heal and provide value to others. A lot of times this type of placement, Venus and Pisces especially, can feel the need to put themselves on like a self-sacrificial pedestal in order to help other people. They'll almost feel obligated sometimes to negate themselves in order to lift up other people, even though they are usually navigating life with their emotions, what they're passionate about, and usually following that. It does not mean that they don't have a hard time saying no or turning things down or not feeling obligated to fix something, especially when it comes to other people who are in a hard place, people who are asking them for help. They could definitely feel like they need to heal. And Pisces are known as one of the healing signs, if not the biggest healer sign of the zodiac. So this can channel itself into this person feeling like they need to always self-sacrifice. So even though they are usually navigating life through passion and emotion, and they are able to adapt to different situations, it is also very possible that they can remain stagnant somewhere that is not making them happy for the sake of someone else. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, especially if you want to see more planet videos from me in the future. That like button will let me know what you want to see. And head over to Patreon for in-depth astrological weekly readings and more fun astrology content from me. And comment down below if you have Venus in Pisces or what your Venus sign is. I love to know who's watching. Fourth, as emotionally welcoming and healing as these individuals can be, there can be a strong air of mystery around them, as they might be difficult for others to comprehend. Probably one of the most complex symbols in the zodiac is the two fish, representing a Piscean's dual nature, to put it simply. But when you dive deeper into the concept of the two fish, they're a representation of the Piscean's embodiment of every single energy that exists in the zodiac wheel, both light and dark, and their ability to swiftly move through every energy that exists. And I know this might sound like an intricate concept to grasp, but basically they represent the completely nuanced existence of a Pisces, in which Pisces can embody anything and everything depending on what they choose. They can live as both the hero and the villain, or they can be the extrovert and the introvert. They can be loud or they can be dead silent. Basically every opposite that you can think of, Pisces is forever existing in the gray area, potentially moving from one extreme to another at any given moment. This relates back to Venus in Pisces because these people can often be difficult for others to grasp. Some people may feel like this person is simply untouchable, like an angel or a goddess, whereas others may just not understand the complexities of this placement overall. This is often how these individuals are able to evade conflict or the limelight, often having a soft demeanor that shies away from being the center of attention. Their tendency to detach from reality can also be what makes them difficult for others to understand as well, and what can also make them seem untouchable. They would much rather live in and surround themselves in a fantasy world than have to deal with the realities around them. They really don't like the harsh realities, and this can channel itself into escapism in this placement, or this can really be what makes this person a beacon of hope and a beacon of light, and very angelic to others as well, because they can touch realms that other people can't really see or believe in, and they can bring it into the physical realm and make it understandable for other people. It really depends on how other placements in your chart are affecting this placement specifically. Maybe it is making it easier for you to channel this into a healing energy or into a more public energy with other people, or maybe it's something you keep more to yourself and you like to escape into your little hole, into your little fantasy world by yourself. But the overall point is that just like the two fish swiftly moving between the gray area of life, this person is probably constantly making a switch and navigating between fantasy realms and the real physical realm. And this is one of multiple reasons that somebody with this placement might enjoy expressing their emotions and experiences through some form of art. This is a placement that can very much express themselves better through artistic means, very similar to Mercury in Pisces or any significant Piscean placements, but especially because we're dealing with Venus, which is a planet that governs over the fine arts. So if they can create a piece of art that bridges that gap between their fantasy realms and the physical realm and turn their emotions and experiences that they usually hide away with, if they can turn it into something tangible in the physical realm to share with others, that's another way that they can help people. Now for a couple empowering tips for somebody who has Venus in Pisces. Number 1, actively curating a practical plan can create more stability in their lives. Unless this person has their Mercury or other placements in more practical zodiac signs, then they can really struggle with not looking at things practically or rationally. Because of this lack of organization and planning and rational perspective, this can really lead to a tendency to be impulsive or make reckless decisions or even repeat the same mistakes over and over because they're just going with the flow rather than ever creating a practical plan. Although there's beauty in going with the flow and following your intuition, there's always a dark side to everything. And in this case, this trait might lead you down hurtful, draining paths and might lead to anxiety, or it could mean you're never able to thrive in your passions. Even though it's impossible to suggest a plan that fits everybody who sees this video, because again, even though if you have a Venus in Pisces, you're watching this, you are not the same as every other Venus in Pisces. But I can make a suggestion at least. And one of my suggestions would be to start with just incorporating small habitual steps into your daily routine. And by starting small, I mean, for example, just tell yourself you're going to do one little thing every morning and start building that as a habit. So say you have been wanting to stretch every morning. Just tell yourself that you're going to do 2 to 3 minutes of stretching every morning. The moment you get out of bed, do a couple minutes of stretching and build that habit. And then over time, you can increase it a little bit. And then once you get comfortable with that, then you can add on making yourself tea in the morning or something like that. Whatever it is that works for you. But just start small. You don't have to do this crazy routine all at once. You can just think of something you really want to do for yourself in the mornings or every day, and just start incorporating a little bit of that into your day-to-day life until it becomes more of a habit for you. And this is a way that you can start to build structure in your life. It's not just about forming a habit that's good for you, but it's about getting into the routine of having more structure in your life so you have more control over your life, essentially. And if you can incorporate practices every day that also build your self-love, this is very important for this placement as well, because again, they can be a little self-sacrificial and very giving towards others and not very giving to themselves sometimes. So building confidence and self-love will be also extremely essential. So any habits that you can start incorporating little by little that help build your own confidence will be extremely beneficial as well. Second, be careful of manipulative tendencies and or the possibility of being easily manipulated by others. With a placement ruled by Neptune, planet of illusion, it can be difficult to decipher between truth and lies. Whether it's the Pisces placement that isn't being completely honest, or if it's the Pisces placement that is on the receiving end of somebody being dishonest, there can definitely be some dishonesty or manipulation present here, whether it's intentional or not. If it's the Pisces Venus that is being the dishonest one, this can stem from a couple things. It can stem from maybe the Pisces Venus not feeling fully committed to whatever person or situation they're in, so they make up white lies or stretch truths. Or it can be because they're trying to be hypersensitive to that person's needs or their emotions, and therefore they're telling white lies for the sake of not hurting the other person. But as for the Pisces Venus being the one that's receiving the dishonesty from somebody else, they can be prone to these situations simply because Pisces Venus usually naturally wants to heal and help somebody else, especially if they've grown a connection to that person. So this makes them prone to meeting people who are dishonest, manipulative, and take advantage of them as well. And these are both things that this placement needs to be equally aware of, because something that Piscean energy is known for is potentially taking on the victim mentality very quick, even if they need to take responsibility over their own actions. Say somebody did them wrong. Yes, that person did you wrong, but also the Pisces placement needs to be able to admit to their wrongs as well. So this can definitely show up in Pisces Venus, whether you are the one on the receiving end of hurtful actions or whether you're the one dishing out the hurtful actions. Either way, this is something that can show up in a Venus and Pisces life, and it's something to make sure that you are staying aware of. Once again, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more planet series from me, be sure that you like the video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos just like this one, and leave a comment down below if you're a Venus and Pisces or know somebody who is. And you can also head over to my Patreon, where I do in-depth astrological weekly readings and more fun astrology content. And you can also hop over to the LaBlue Lotus Facebook community, where we talk more about using astrology and spirituality for self-transformation. But for even more content and a more personal side of my life, you can head over to my Instagram at Marisa LaBlue. And until I release a new video, you can watch these ones right here, which will help you so much more on your astrological and spiritual journey. Until I see you next time, thank you so much again for being here. See you in the next one. Adios.